2 Chronicles. This will be part 1. And let me see here. I'm looking to get it going here. And here we are. Now, that's not a good start, but what it is if you're new here, the blue is the text that I'd be removing. And these are the reasons why. I'm not going to go over them. I have gone over them in other videos. And the green, I got a forward slash and then a green, and this one blue. It means I'm changing this word to this word. And usually when it's this far apart, I have it this color. And I'm so used to just not doing that I do a lot of correcting. Like here, see assemble together. That's so close. I'm pretty sure that nobody's going to argue about that. Some might want to argue about this. These are the words that I'm going to go over. Say like was over our nation. Well, he was king, so I don't think that one is that hard to understand. So now here, the yellow text here means that I'm adding to make the format. The format you'd see here is 3 verses, 1, 2, 3. I think we've got enough of that there so you can see my pointer when I'm pointing. 1, 2, 3 verses. And what I'm trying to do is use 2 major words and then the least amount of words to complete a verse, as small as I can get them, because these formats are, you go through 1 through 9 on the Psalms, you can find different formats. 78 is one that really gives this one word, one major word, and goes through quite a way. So that's why I've tried to do these. These do not take over our creator's hidden formats that I know that are in there. That's coming up soon. I'll be doing those. But this gives me more leeway to say I don't need a lot of these words. The words I'm getting rid of just aren't really needed. Let me show you something here. I have a New American Standard Concordance, and that is this here. So when I click on a word here, that is the Strong's Concordance word. Now, New American Standard made their own concordance by changing the lettering of the words. And then down here, which is very important, is how many times are in this parentheses did they use these words for that word. You can see 12 here and then once here. So you can tell that a lot of the corruption in the Bible is that they did not use the same word over and over for the Hebrew word. Example, this one is 2 words here, so established, and then himself is in the middle. See, if I click on the word himself, it's this here little dot that pretty much self-explanatory that Strong at that time didn't need that word. Now remember, they've been adding text to the Bible for probably over 50,000 words now, and this is New American Standard Bible over the years. So a lot of times you can try to say, well, it wasn't there, it's been added. What I want to do is go to the word exalted, and I had used the word pick. Now, if I come down here, I can scroll, and I'm looking for the word pick, and you can see it's not here. So that's why I've got it as a yellow word. I've done so many of these that I'm pretty sure that if it's too close for common, I'm not going over it. But I just wanted to show you that they used it as exalted as magnifying, but also reared or rearing and vaulted. Those are pretty much promoted, yes. But the word more, now I know there is words that are there that already Hebrew words for the word more. So they don't have any problem of using the word more, even though that they know that this Hebrew word is not. the word more, and they know the word more is in the Hebrew language. That all said, that gets us through the first 5 minutes. And now I can get back to the screen here and I will continue. I try to make these 40 minutes and then I stop. So if you want to be here for a while, here goes. We got 35 minutes now. Okay. A king's summons, it doesn't just speak to me, a king's summons, so I'm using the correct word here for a king. Israel's leaders, Israel, when I'm using it all bold like this, means the nation of Israel, the complete, let me see here, all the tribes, okay? Now here I've got, this is my own map. So I've created this, and it's all about boundaries. They used rivers as boundaries. So that's how this map was created for this people here. Now, right now we're talking about Jerusalem now. So you notice Jerusalem is now on the map. It's this one here. And this is what's going on in this area, okay? Now, but that is the nation of Israel when I speak that way. And assembled together, that's pretty good. I had to add the word large altar. Now, the specific that you should know about the altars, there's one large altar and then there is 12 smaller ones. The tribes will come to their priest and they will be the ones that go to these smaller altars. But the king has his own altar, and it's to represent the whole nation. Example, and only the highest priest, that's what the highest priest was over that one, and then he kind of overseen everybody else. Guide him, help him, whatever. People are coming and going, new priests, new attendants. They have to have attendance as well, but that's not in the text. But if you understand or watched these videos before, that they need help when they're doing some of this. So they had attendance. So I have to add this verse here just to say that the priest offered their peace offering. It wasn't a burnt offering, it was a peace offering. And that is because I'm looking, I'm trying to think whether this is to start building this house. Okay. This was, I guess, before, or maybe not, because these pieces are randomly all over, and I was looking to see where I was at the store. I believe this piece is going to be after the house was completely built. And this was their peace offering as their first offering at his house when it was completed. Okay. Yes, now I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. So this offering is actually fire is going to come down from heaven to consume this peace offering. A peace offering is to ask for the peace of the people. Say if they go to war, that we're offering you a peace offering that's going to be ease the nation. The trouble is going to come. People are going to come for wars, and this is what they would offer. Now, if there's inner offering that Jesus is related to, it is the peace offering, okay? A lot of people don't know that because the peace offering is not really explained in the text. It only comes from years of reading and understanding what the peace offering is. Example, Solomon gets into trouble. He going against the Philistines, and he wants to make his peace offering. There's the word peace offering is there, and Solomon or yeah, Samuel is the one who is going to offer it up, which he was. You got to understand, he was the Eli's assistant, and he went from a priest to the highest priest, and then when he retired, he became the judge. So a lot of the judges that were like kings over them, and we don't have that list, um, they did the offering for this, or would ask for these offerings, and then the high priest would do this. Samuel does the offering, but you also have to understand he was probably not a Levi. I know he wasn't a Levi, but the thing here is um, he was a prophet. So it's very interesting that how Hannah uh, gets him in there. But it's awfully important because Samuel ends up being the judge. I think in this one or the next in Chronicles 1. Anyway, it might even be 2. They're goofy. The books are so messed up. But this peace offering is very, you have to understand it's the highest priest that does this offering. And then later that night, that our Creator does not appear to anyone. You cannot ask our Creator, like, who are we to ask our Creator, hey, come here. He didn't appear to Solomon. He talks to Solomon, okay? Um, now, anyways, I don't say that this word can't be used, because when our Creator comes walking on the land to Abraham, yes, he sees him and he appears to Abraham. But here the word is talk to Solomon, and I'll give you wisdom. And after he was given this wisdom of knowledge to rule his people, this knowledge is something that we don't know exactly what it is, because today we know that people have photographic memories. So that is not the wisdom and knowledge that Solomon is given, and it is to rule over his people. Well, there's other people that are good rulers. So what makes him the one that's going to receive all these wealth and riches? The only explanation I can ever come up with is that he knew um, how things in the order that would grow on the land, like a photographic memory of the birds migrating, what the animals would do, and just that type of knowledge, because it has to be something special, and it has to be. The text will say later that another story about how great his wisdom was greater than anybody else's. So that's my understanding. Now you can see a lot of blue text is going to be removed out of the text, or is just not needed. I'm getting to the story, and the story builds up like this when you see these 3 verses. And down here in these groups, they do, but they don't tie into the story. It's just abruptly like a story after a story that doesn't matter much to us today in a lot of things. But now Solomon is going to start building this. He didn't decide, he started, so that should have been yellow. Started building YHVH'S house, and this should have been yellow because I was adding this. And actually I'm bringing it forward from here to there, so I guess it wasn't really adding it, but I moved it, switched the words around. A lot of times I'll make a note over here if I switch the word around, right like this, I do it here. Usually if I switch a word around, it's because I missed it, and when I'm cleaning up the text, I needed to go back and do it. Sometimes I do a video before I get to the next step, or catch it in the next step. To carry to move, I'm seeing, okay, that he's hiring or assigned 7,000 men. These numbers are never right, so I'm guesstimating 7,000 men, and that they're to move the blocks and actually hew the blocks, okay? We need to have hewers added to the text for the simple thing, we know it's a quarry. That's the words there. So now they have to uh, get these blocks out, grade them, and then shape them. Now there's going to be 3 sizes that they're going to need. 1 cubic by 1 cubic by 1 cubic, 1 cubic by 1 cubic by 2 cubics, 1 cubic by 1 cubic by 3 cubics. Those sizes can construct the house, okay? And then there is the one that's going to be over the door, which is going to be 1 by 1 by 5. So these blocks that they're hewing actually can make up the house. I've done all the figuring. 18 inches is a cubic. And when you do the measurements are the inside dimension for the house, because the dimension for the tent is to the very edge, and then the tent wall, they didn't have a thickness. So the thing here is it was just a hide. But the object is when they do the blocks, these are 1 cubic wide. This house is to be forever. So you know that the quarry is a granite block quarry. Okay. So there's also information that it's what color of granite, because next to Jerusalem is red granite, and Hebron is a white um, granite. We have to go back to the time of Moses being told about the tent, and those hides that they were using were goats and rams, which are white. So it was white Hebron blocks that they were hewing. Now you have a visual of the color of the house and the color of the tent. And where the David set up the tent on this hill, because there are no mountains in Israel, even though the text will say over 300 times that there's mountains in Israel. They aren't. They're hills. But on this hill, it was leveled so they could create a city, Jerusalem, and put the tent for meeting there. Okay. And now they're going to build the house, so it has to be leveled. So I've had to add the word level. Sent messengers to this king here. Now this guy's a good guy because his gets a capital letter on his name. Now, why am I saying he's a good guy? Um, when Noah landed, let me bring that map up. Um, when Noah landed, this is where I'm saying he landed, okay? This was Shem's land, and this is Canaan's land, and this is Japheth's. Ham did not exist. His name was Canaan at the time. So once you understand that, these are the 3 sons. And Abraham went into Canaan's land and then was sending back his son to Shem's land to receive a wife. And why is the boundary right here? This is because Jacob passed the rivers, and then Laban knew he was in Canaan's land and he had left Shem's land. So when he crossed the rivers, that was the boundary line for Canaan. Now, here, Japheth's is this here. This line could go across here, but as you can see, I tried to use the ridge line here of the hills. Maybe that should be a little bit more corrected, but anyways, this for Canaan is going to be really good. This line right here, that's a variable, okay? Now, Shem's we know are the descendants that are blessed, okay, which means always goodness for those people. Now, when Canaan ran them out, they went upwards into Lebanon, okay? They were pushed out. There's no story about that, but they end up, um, this story of why did David accept um, him, this king here, to have his son build him a house, send him builders to build David a house. Why would he accept it? Why would they accept hear help from them to, okay, I'm seeing the text is running off the page here. They have to be related. They stopped at the promised land, go in there. There's many reasons to suggest that they are Shem's descendants in Lebanon. So it wasn't this city, it was this land. He was pretty much king, but you understand that when you read the story. That he's the ruler over Lebanon, because here Solomon is going to ask him or tell him about the house that he's going to be building. And then the word is not now, it needs to be please. He's asking. So when you read it, it just, why would he? But the later you'll see that I have him, that his people he knows are blessed because they're carrying the blessing from Noah's blessing that from them, because actually Israel is a descendant of Shem as well. So how to not just cut trees, but how to shape them. There's going to be, and it's just not timber, but trees. You have to shape the trees. You got to understand, they didn't understand scaffolding to raise those big granite blocks up in position. They didn't know how to bring the timber to make the roof. Or probably put them together to make doors. At this time, David was the only one that had a house in all Israel. So here's the understanding is that this needs to be made sure it's put into the text, that they shape the trees. It doesn't say scaffolding anywhere, but you have to understand everything when you're thinking about what's needed for these blocks to be lifted up. This lever work of taking weights and moving weights by lumber being used to be able to stack them wherever, that all has to be understood, that they needed to know that knowledge, and they didn't have that knowledge. They knew how to make bricks, but they didn't need to. But here, these were big blocks. And the tree I don't see, I will send, and indeed my servants will work with you. Well, this word we know is absolutely stupid. So let me check that in the text here, because there are some times that when I'm doing this, this is 2:9. Oops, I gotta get to 2:9 here. So it's 2:8 close. Indeed, if, behold, I use the word send. I don't see anything like send. So yes, that's why I've got it in yellow. But the object is why would that word ever be here? Indeed. This is where I can point out that the manuscripts are pretty much so far wrong, they're making things up at that time. So the scrolls, if you're new here, imagine you are right off the bat. So let me show you something here. There was an image of a scroll they found in Egypt. in the archive. This scroll is 40 some hundred years old, 4,000 years old. Look how beautiful that thing is. So if we wanted to have the scrolls, we would have had the scrolls. They destroyed the scrolls and made up their own manuscripts, okay? And this is a corrupted word that you can see that they started adjusting the words for themselves to mean whatever they wanted to mean. There's a trickery of words going on going on here in the text, and I will explain that someday. Which to what? Let's see. Let me show you here, because this word should not be there, because see down here it's used 166 times. So I could come back over here when I'm clicking on the word which up here, and then down here you can see they used it 166 times. So I should be able to said that one was green. So I needed to add the word work. That's not too difficult. Cores is being changed to barrels, and I believe that's pretty much what they were anyway. Let's see. Cores. No, that's just, see, they got the word cores that doesn't mean barrels. They've never used it as barrel, but I'm using it as the word barrels, so this should be yellow. Of crushed wheat, so it's flour that they're transporting. And once I do this and explain it, I just let it go next time so I can skip over words that I do a lot here, just like this one, Target 11, Lebanon. Don't need the city, but need the land description where it's coming from. And he sent a letter, and this is where YV loves his people too, meaning, what is his name here? Harm, but I've got it her. So the thing here is YV blesses our people too. I put that into the text because I know that's the truth. So when I'm putting things into the text, it's because I explained why already, but that's just, it's common knowledge for me, so I have to explain a lot of times where I'm putting that in. That's why I've got the maps. That's why I've got some aids to help point that out. But next time I might not do that, so you'll have to find out where I did do that to explain what's going on in the future. So make sure you reference back and forth in these videos. River to the river, this here river. Now what they're talking about here, because everything by a visual is really good to understand. Because let's see, this map should be, I got the map, I got the rivers here. This is the river right here. Whoops. Okay. Right now it's being called this. Later it's called something else, and I've picked this one here. But they're going to bring them down the coastline here, and then they're going to take them here, and then they're going to have to carry them from here to here. Okay. So this river, gotta make a note of that. Let me spell this first. It's S-R-E-K river. And then I need to, because I make notes to myself, I'm over here on the board. Another screen here, and it's J. Okay, Um, let's save it here. Okay. Now, and that's what this means here is by the sea, and then bring. I had to add the word bring because the word carry, and now you understand why these words are here. This word is bring and what's going on with that. And I will send my woodsmen to teachers how to make scaffolding. Here I've had to add that in here. I just figured that this would have been a great place to put that in, to have that understanding that they did not know how to do this shaping of the wood to make things. So, and not the place, but it's where he set up his tent. So that's not that place. Well, actually, it is set up nearby. Some of these hills aren't just like a straight hill. They have like a flatness to them or a rigid or whatever, but they're rolling hills. So somewhere along here is the tent, and right next to it, they flatten it and they're going to level it out and they're going to build the house here. And now you can see that this text here, as they began to build on, this text needs to go with the other one where it said he started to build. So this is the time that they were to build. So I try to use all letters like that. Now the foundation was laid for the house and links are in cubics. Okay. Now here's the cubics, because the links are in cubics. You don't need the word cubic all over the place. Now I know I've added it someplace else, but I just needed a filler to do this, to make the format. 6 tens long, 6 tens cubics by 2 cubics. This is the way they would put numbers back then. They would, for example, like an age, if you were 12, it would be 10 plus 2. If it was like 35, it would be 3 tens plus 5. Okay, just for you to understand. Now here I've got a question mark. I'm going to fill that in later once I make sure that it isn't in the text coming down or whatever. So when I put the pieces together, I'll be able to put this dimension of the porch in there. And it's probably going to be 2 cubics, but it can be 1. The example is that when I've told you about building the roof, the house is made out of blocks. The columns are going to be made out of um, bronze. But this porch that extends out, is it going to be the full length across, and how deep is it? You can't put this span of a block up here on top. So we know that this from pillar to pillar has to be made out of wood. Okay. So I know that cedars can be up to, back then, 100 feet long. There's some straight tree, cedar grows very straight. That's why they used it as in shipping, they'd use that as the stern of the boat, that it would be perfectly straight, and then they could add everything to it to build a boat, a very large boat. So you have to understand that, could they made that out? I believe the porch was a little bit shorter than the full length here. So that's why is it just 1? Is it a certain number? I don't know. I can't recall what I did in our creator's hidden formats. It's just that when you start thinking things through, you have to understand what they had available at that time. And blocks could not have been made for the roof for this porch. So, and this is just to recheck that number again, at the height of the walls. Um, I I once did this, and I know that all the dimensions work, but I'm just the the base floor that's laid down was because Solomon named it as a forever house. I believe the flooring, the first that wood or blocks that are laid, are made of granite. Okay. And then the courtyard on the outside, that's going to be made of limestone. And I'll get to that when Rehoboam has problems with people in Shechem, because Shechem, next to Shechem, what's their labor that's so heavy? Um, they're the ones cutting all the blocks from the limestone, and then the limestone's also going to be used to refortify Jerusalem, the walls of Jerusalem. And I had to add the walls with the roof like the tent. The tent roof. Now this is quite unique. A lot of people take a look at the tent and there's no roof on the tent, and I think that's funny because anybody that's had tent and knows about water, the heaviness of the water, would cave that in extremely. But when I was doing the text, I came across this. And this is, if I change this one word from bars to arches, we have a hip roof. And this you're seeing as what the roof looks like on the tent for the first time if you're new here. So So I've added this to say that they're going to replace the roof like that. And then the walls on the inside for his room, it was made of cloth. They have the word curtain, but I'm going to use the word cloth. And you have to remember, on the south side was the opening for the to enter into the his holy room. So the thing here is this direction of the south and which way the house was built. The doorway or the entrance to the house was in the south, which none of the maps or anything on Google or whatever Bing searches, they just don't have it right. But the object is that they're going to make wood walls in here, and then they're going to overlay them with pure gold. And I've got to wrap it up here with the next couple minutes here. I'm at 38 right now, so. And then they have to have doors to his room, and because it's going to say that they were made of wood and they were carved on them. And I'm adding the dates on it. A lot of palm trees had dates, so I'm adding the word dates. They just didn't have tree with chains on them. Just the doors. And then the beams would have been overlaid, the roof beams that now exist. They were overlaid in gold. So the walls and then the roof. It's just for you to get a visual. Visuals are very good when you get into these. We know cherubims are angels, so got rid of the word cherubim and cherub, whatever, to angels or angel. In his meeting room, and this is the size of his meeting room. Okay. Okay, I got a couple minutes here. Now, if this is the size of his meeting room, what's the other 40 by 20 used for? There's a lot of things. They had to make the plates that they were carrying over for the offering. They needed storage. So did they make walls that had cabinets in it to do this? It doesn't say that, but I'm pretty sure that this time they had made wood cabinets for all their supplies, their knives, whatever they needed for sacrificing the animal and then removing the muscles, the plate to carry that in. The uh, priest had trumpets. There was poles that they were carrying things that they would have still had left in there. Um, there's a lot of things that would have been left in the storage room. So the thing here is that that's what's going on in the other areas, the storage room. And here's the wingspan, and then I'm going to quit right here. Yeah, I forgot. So I'm going to quit, and they touched the other, yeah. Anyways, they're going to cover up, as the description before, the wings are going to be coming forward to cover up the mercy seat. So I will stop there and then continue down here on the pillars in the next one.